Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Thursday, August 27th, 2026. I hope you're all safe and healthy today. Hope your families are safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the area of health, along with first responders doing all they can to save lives. Those also that pick up garbage to keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are out there trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children, victims of child molestation and pedophilia, the ones that are out here trying to do the same recovery and help to the victims of prostitution, child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, profiteers, and the perverts that create demands that cause these evil industries to exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, military veterans, homeless in the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. Okay, a little bit of an interesting development. I mean, a little bit, so don't go too crazy. But the New Orleans Pelicans just signed Bennedict Matherin to a guaranteed 2-year, $16 million contract. Why is that a development? Because, okay, there's basically 3 levels of cap. There's your first salary cap, okay? There's your first apron, and there's your second apron. Now, depending on where your team is in its development, depending on what cap you're willing to go over. For example, the New York Knicks just won the championship. Now, when you win the championship, in the past, the Golden State Warriors have went over the cap, second apron, because they won a chip and they end up winning another one. So some teams would pay the tax and just do it, especially if you're stacked. Then there are those that don't want to pay that extra tax money because it's like $3 or $4 to 1 in terms of taxes when you're over the aprons. So Dolan said he doesn't want to go over the second apron. So now the Knicks we're trying to arrange their salary so they stay under the second apron, which they are. Now, with New Orleans situation, they're not an annual playoff team. They're not a long-term sustainable winner right now. They're looking to develop that, and they got the pieces to do it, starting with Zion Williamson. So they got Zion Williamson, 26 years old. They're paying him $42 million this year, $45 million next year. They got DeJounte Murray, who they're going to pay $33 million this year, $30 million next year. Trey Murphy III seems to be the most promising. He's got 3 years guaranteed, $27 million, $29 million, $31 million. And then, of course, Herb Jones, $15 million, $21 million, $22 million. Then they got some youngins, Jeremiah Fears, we know about him, Derek Queen. They went and got Sadiq Bey, we know about him. He's on the last year of his deal. So right now, as we are speaking, because they got Sadiq on the last year of his deal, Jordan Poole on the last year of his deal at $34 million. They got decisions to make. Then they got youngins like Micah Peavy, who's going to be a problem in the future. So they're set up pretty nicely. But in signing Matherin, they almost certainly have to make a move, because right now, because of their situation, they have $5.7 million of tax space. They just signed Matherin to almost 8. So they got to make a move to keep under that tax. You don't want to be paying taxes when you're basically trying to come out of the rebuilding mode, which is what New Orleans is. They're trying to get out of rebuilding mode and be in playoff contention mode. Not championship mode. That's still a little bit of ways, but they're trying to get into playoff mode. So they don't want to be paying too many taxes. You want to try to do it without paying taxes if you can. So right now they have no tax bill, and they have about $5.7 million of tax base, and they just signed Matherin to $8 million. So somebody's got to go. They got to lose some money. I mean, get rid of some money off their books. And you and I know we've been looking at Yves Missi for a while, who's at $3.5 million. Now, I don't know what they're going to do, because looking at the roster for New Orleans, they have, it's a very hodgy-podgy type of roster. They got, for point guards, DeJounte Murray, Jeremiah Fears, And those are the point guards that they really have. Now they got Buffkin, who's not signed yet, but those are the really 2 point guards that they have. So they could use another point guard. You know where I'm going with this. And then as far as small forwards, they have Trey Murphy III, Herb Jones. That's it. And I think that's it. Small forwards. They could use a small forward. You know where I'm going with this. But they're trying to save money. So it's hard for them to receive something because they're trying to save money. They can trade something out, but it's hard to receive anything because they're trying to save money. So at this point, they're going to have to make a move with somebody. Now, as far as centers, well, we know they got Missi, they got Jordan, they got Derek Queen. Those are the centers they got. That's what they got. That's their centers. So they got 3. I wouldn't be giving up Missi if I was New Orleans. I would not be giving up Missi. They don't want to give up DeAndre Jordan because they just signed him. And he's like a veteran leader. It's not like he's going to make an impact on the floor. But he's going to be around, okay? And Derek Queen is their future. He's only 22. They drafted him in the lottery. He's going to be here. So really, if there's a center that has to go, it'll be Missi because they use sometimes Zion Williamson at the 5. They even use Herb Jones at the 5. But anyway, I guess what I'm saying is New Orleans has to make a move. And the Knicks would be hoping that that move is Missi. Because that would be the perfect complement to Karl-Anthony Towns and Andre Drummond. That would be a perfect compliment. So he would, because he's, as far as my board, as far as what we was going, he's the top of my list. I told you months ago. He's at the top of my list. I also like Diabate, of course. Rock, C, same thing. But Missi, 22 years old, athletic, 7-foot wingspan, already great on defense. Just needs some more experience, what he would get with the Knicks. That would be perfect. So the possibility of Missi is there. And like I said, right now, as shooting guard, they got Peavy in New Orleans. They got Bryce McGowens. They got Jordan Hawkins. They're going to probably trade Jordan Poole. I can't see him staying there. He's in the last year of a $34 million deal. So if they can trade him for anything less to take back, like if they could trade that $34 million contract and take a $20 million contract back, they'd save $14 million. Now, some of your knuckers going to be mentioning Josh Hart. I ain't want to talk to you, so forget it. But we're not talking about that. But another $20 million from somebody else in exchange for Jordan Poole, okay? He's still 27 years old. He's just coming into his prime. He's one of those guys, either you like his game or you don't. I'm not real high on Jordan Poole's game. I think he's more of he's a Steph Curry wannabe. I don't see him as a complete player. And so there's some people that'll like him though. But I see him being moved. But in the meantime, if they can't move him, that's a big contract. Somebody will take him at the trade deadline because now you're going to be losing that $34 million. You're creating cap space for next summer. But in terms of right now, I don't think so. If they can move him, it'd be good, but I don't think they will. So you're looking at a smaller contract that will give you some flexibility at the trade deadline. That would be guys like, well, numbers-wise, like I said, they ain't moving Jordan, but you're talking about his $3.8 million, Missi $3.5 million, McGowan's $2.5 million. This Carlo Matkovic, we talked about him a little bit, $2.2 million. Micah Peavy, they ain't moving him, so forget about that. So something's going to shake loose. And we talked about this, like, even with Dallas, they got to make a move on Cichet. They got to make a move on Cichet in just a few days. They got to decide, pay him the $1 million or not. So something's going to shake loose, okay? Decisions for New Orleans come by September 9th. So they got to make decisions. And I'm sure the Knicks are not the only team waiting in the wings. And I'm just talking about Missi for the Knicks, but I'm saying there are other teams that some team might want Sadiq Bey. He's a really good player. You might want him. Some team might want Jordan Hawkins. I don't know. We'll find out. But the opportunity now, the door has been open in New Orleans. They apparently were very high, for good reason, on Bennedict Matherin. They really wanted him. And so when it became an opportunity to go get him, they did it. It makes sense. Matherin, as you know, I liked him at Arizona. I thought he was going to be a really, really good pro, and I still do. Matherin is still only 24 years old. He's going to get better. And especially in New Orleans, you got him playing besides DeJounte Murray, Zion Williamson, and Trey Murphy III. They're going to be good, man. I'm not sure how far they're going to get in terms of playoff contention, but they now have a nucleus to go forward. And I think for New Orleans, the 5 spot in that nucleus is Queen. Queen is going to be the 5 spot. So that leaves Missi as a possibility. So we'll see how that works out. And you know, and I know, the Don is on the phone. You ain't got to tell him to make the phone call. He done already made it, okay? And so we're going to see how this works out. But I know one thing. We're going to know something before training camp. Before training camp. So these are the options. The Knicks can make a deal before training camp. And now with that, we're talking about the Seashays and the Missis of the world. If none of that shakes out, they can go into training camp with a whole bunch of 5s competing for one spot. So the Knicks, the plan is very simple. It's either that. Either they're going to make a deal for a Missi or a Seashay. Probably not Diabate, because I just feel like he's just too good, really. He's just too good for Charlotte to be given, and too cheap for Charlotte to be giving him up. You might get that Kalkbrenner dude, Kalkbrenner, whatever his name is, but the guy we really want is probably not going to be available. So either they'll make a pre-training camp deal, or they'll let a whole bunch of guys, you know, like this Liam, I forgot his last name, you know what I'm talking about. He come in there with whoever, and then, you know, Angel Reese's brother, Julian Reese, they come into camp with a bunch of other dudes, and they battling for that 3rd spot. So that the Knicks got a plan. That's going to be how it plays out. We're going to know, though, within a couple of weeks, like by the middle of September, if one of these guys like a Missi or Seashay will shake loose and the Knicks get him that way. But either way, we're in good position. Very good position, okay? So it's not a rocket science. It's not clickbait, you know, what the Knicks doing, the second guessing like a lot of knuckleheads do. You know, the Knicks know what they're doing, and they're in a very good position. And here we just got a possibility of a Missi. So we'll see. Anyway, let's watch it play out. You all enjoy your Thursday. Shalom.